Assalamu alaikum, everyone. We are going to start in a minute. Welcome to Receiving Nur Ramadan Quranic study. For those of you who are new, I would like to say a couple words about Receiving Nur. Receiving Nur's motto is grounded faith, peaceful surrender, inspired living. These three aspects are very significant because grounded faith, the faith we are seeking a grounded faith, because too often faith is understood as blind belief, something to believe without evidence or without certainty. Yet the Quran invites us to Iman, faith that is grounded in enlightening thinking, enlightening reasoning, seeing the signs, evidences, ayat all around us and within us. The second part of Receiving Nur's motto, peaceful surrender, is another keystone. It is a choice that flows from grounded faith. As we are more grounded in Iman, we are more open to surrender. Of course, it's a choice. We may also refuse to surrender, but we are more open to surrender, and it is that surrender is transformative and brings peace. And the third part in Receiving Nur's motto is inspired living, and this is living in the presence of God, guided through life as an inspired abd, as an inspired worshipper, servant, and slave of our Creator. As we get to know and love our Creator and surrender more, we will, inshallah, experience inspired living. And inshallah, we will become more and more part of the Quranic promise and declaration of being eased into ease. Ramadan Quran Feast is a hope. The title, we are looking forward to a feast. The Quran does offer us a feast of guidance, and it's our hope and prayer that inshallah these gatherings will be a means for that. We also invite you to explore Ramadan resources, and there is a Mindful Ramadan daily check-in form that is available at receivingnur.org. Receiving Nur YouTube channel also has playlists of Ramadan, previous Ramadan feasts that's worth listening as we fast, and also study circles and the latest lectures on Quran, including the monthly lectures that Dr. Yamina has been giving for the last couple months. And so again, welcome to everyone, and thank you for joining us in this beautiful Ramadan day. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And with that, I am very glad to introduce our first speaker. Today's speaker is Sister Fatma Nur. I have a very brief bio that doesn't do justice, but I'm going to read that anyway. Sister Fatma Nur is joining us right now from Poland. And she studied English language and literature in Turkey and instructional systems technology in the United States. She worked as an instructional designer and a teacher for a few years, and she has designed some amazing mindful, faithful classes for students. She currently is in Poland with her family, and her most recent dream, one of her most recent dreams, is writing picture books. She has done insightful work on teaching kids faith concepts, and she also has written a number of essays on living faith mindfully and witnessing names of God in Turkish and as well as in English. And she has presented in previous Receiving Nur feasts as well. And so without further delay, we turn to Sister Fatma Nur joining us from, at the time, very close to Iftar, I believe, in Poland. Jazakallah khair. Thank you.
Jazakallah. Yeah, we are already after Iftar, so I am fine. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Ramadan Mubarak, and inshallah it will be a Ramadan full of barakah for all of you. I hope today's session will not be a waste of time, but will be inspiring. Biiznillah, inshallah. Let me make a dua and we will get going. Elhamdülillah, elhamdülillah, elhamdülillahi Rabbil alemin vel aqibeti lil muttaqin. Esselatu vesselamu ala Resulina Muhammedin ve ala alihi ve sahbihi ecma'in. Amin. Euzu billahi mineşşeytanirracim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Today our topic will be about impermanence. I will try to share some of my own reflections and some of healing points I learned through Imam Said Nursi's works and especially also receiving Nur classes, inshallah. And I will happy also if you join and comment and ask questions, reject anything that is not fitting, inshallah. Please feel free. Bismillah. First, Isra already told you that, yeah, I join you from Poland, and I would like to start with a poem. This poem belongs to a very famous Polish poet, and this poem touched me a lot. So I will just read, and I also would like you to comment how it makes you feel, and yeah, it's just part of the poem, not the whole thing. Okay. Bismillah. Nothing happens twice. Nothing happens twice, and it never will. The sore fact is, we were born without training, and we will die without routine. Even if we are students who are the dullest in the school of the world, we will not repeat. No winter or summer. No day will be repeated. No two nights alike. The same two kisses. No two identical gazes into the eyes. Okay, is there anyone who would like to share yeah, anything that awakened in you this poem?
I just love how he brought the gazes in the eyes, something that you don't think about. And they're not similar. I wonder what does that mean?
You wonder what, Alia?
Like, I wonder, like, what does that mean? Like,
No,
so
no.
nothing is similar, like, and he speak about us like we could be the dumbest, but so nothing is similar, meaning that we are given abundance, that there's nothing that we have more than anyone can imagine about what they're having, because if nothing is similar means everything is very unique and very tailored. So that means that you are very, very rich, even if you're the dumbest. I think that's what I got from it.
Yeah, abundance, and as well as I think she is emphasizing that mostly the flow, I guess, like, because yeah, it will be never the same. It will be always there is no going back. There is no rewinding back. It will be always something new. There's even you are the most laziest student in the school of the world, you will never be able to repeat. Anybody who would like to share? Or
I think it just shocked me or surprised me the way the flow is so. I mean, we always talk about the flow, but this made it more, more, what is the word? More stark. That's such a flow that it's constantly flowing and nothing is repeated. Even looking at the person's eye, the second look is different. And we were born without training, and we will die without routine. That is also striking, because it reminds me of this scene. There is a documentary on the baby in the womb, and then they also have a scene where the baby is being delivered, is coming out of the womb. And, it's a scientific, they try to give scientific descriptions and names and labels and technical information. But the narrator at that point says, now the baby's, there's only one way out and there's no coming back. And that stayed with me. There's no coming back. And then here we come in without a training. And then we also, when we exit from the womb of this world into the next, that's also without precedent in some way. It's striking. Also, it was a bit sad also. I don't know how to describe, but please, Fatma Nur, go ahead. I'm sure you have.
Assalamu alaikum. I feel it's not a little bit sad. It's very, very sad. And I don't feel any abundance in this. I feel lots of despair and helplessness because there is no training. So there is no purpose, there is no meaning. We don't know. It feels like I'm here and I don't know what I'm doing here. And I can't even learn because by the time I figure this day, the next day is totally different. So it's almost like crazy, and it's darkness upon darkness. That's how it feels to me. From the description in the poem.
Initially, I also felt sadness, like when I was reading through the poem, but the end maybe somehow it says the same two kisses, no two nights alike. So every creation is new, and the same two kisses, no two identical cases to die. So for me, it ended on a positive note because you see each new moment as a new opportunity rather than dwelling in the past and seeing the darkness.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I first felt like Zeba felt like, yeah, okay, everything is unique, and every moment is very, very precious, valuable, priceless. But actually, as Dr. Yamina mentioned, sadness was more dominant for me also because because it focuses on the flow so strikingly that it is as if there is a very fast flow and I cannot do anything to stop it. And as if, yeah, everything that I connect to is passing by, but it is impossible.
You can't catch it. Even
What?
if you want, you can't catch it because the moment you catch it, it's gone. That's how it
Yeah.
feels.
Yes, exactly.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can I add a comment? So yeah, I think that the reaction that anybody I think gets from it, the first reaction is that jab in that impermanence of our existence, because we're constantly struggling with that from the day that we understand life. But I think that there is another sort of like light at the end of the tunnel that it gives you, that it's like it's something that you did from the moment you were born. A baby does not know where they're going, where their food's coming from. And when a baby starts walking, it doesn't know if it's going to stay up or if it's going to fall. And it's a constant transition. And just understanding that we are to trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that as we come to this world not knowing, we are going to experience the not knowing, and that we have to trust the only way that we can survive this or feel okay is to trust in the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is guiding us through the wisdom of the unknown. If we were okay in the womb, if we were nurtured in the womb, and we are fed and clothed until this day, that there's hope for us in the eternity as well. So I think that it gave me the same deep sadness as I read it, but it also reminds me of how the past can help me understand the future, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always with us to guide us. It's a little bit of a relinquishing of because I think human beings think that they can control a lot of what's happening to them and their destiny, and I think that's the main part of what makes us the most anxious. But I think that it creates a level of trust that, I got you and I will still have your back for eternity. So that's what gives me hope. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you, Ella. Yeah, I just wanted us first to stay with this sadness, actually, to face the pain first, and so that what your vision you summarized will, inshallah, make more sense to us. Sorry. Okay, yeah, when I was younger, actually, transience was not an issue for me at all. Like, of course, I would, especially in Imam Said Nursi's works, I would read this word a lot, but probably I would think that, okay, yeah, separation is hard, and yeah, maybe I would think about separating from my family or separation of two lovers like in movies. Like, I would think maybe it is something hard, but I wasn't thinking it as something, an existential problem. But probably at the moment I am in middle ages, everything feels a little bit different. I feel like that I became much more sensitive to separation, maybe because of the age, and maybe also my children are relatively grown up. And also, I live away from my home country, and of course, I don't get to see my relatives very often. And whenever I go there, seeing somebody I know in totally different condition, like in totally white hair or wrinkled face, or little children are already grown up teenagers and getting married, like I start to think that no, this shouldn't be happening, kind of I don't know, like in this the feeling in this poem. No, I have been feeling as if I am in a movie. Yeah, everybody was talking about this, but now, yeah, they are all coming through, kind of feeling. And especially 2 years ago, my son left us to study high school in Turkey. And until the day he left, I wasn't expecting any sadness. But and I am not someone who can cry very easily. But the whole 1 week, I was crying all the time, like as if like all the songs were written for me, or I was reading a book and just a line, just a sentence was making me cry. Or especially at the airport, when he was going through the security, I as if felt connected to all the people around me, like, because they were all hugging each other, their loved ones, and the other ones were going through the security, and I felt as if I became so big. I was able to include all of their sorry, sad feelings. I came home and I went to the grocery store, and there was a boy at the cashier desk, and I was thinking about him. Oh, is he away from the family? Maybe he is also missing his mom, or it felt so different. I realized that how much both I took their presence for granted, and how much I underestimated the pain of separation. And especially after that point, any happy moment instantly now reminds me, no, this will end. So it is as if no happiness is possible, like because it is a constant reminder that this is what passing is in the poem. Even someone smiles at you and it goes, someone looks at you with compassion, but it passes, like all the time. As if after that point I became more open to this wound. And Imam Nursi summarizes this dilemma very beautifully. I would like to just read a quote from him. Man is connected with almost all beings. Also included in his nature is a boundless capacity to love. However, the beings he loves do not stop. They depart, and he constantly suffers the pain of separation. That boundless love of his becomes the means of boundless torment. So evidently, we are in a big dilemma. We have an immense capacity to connect to any bounty, any perfection, any beauty, but at the same time, all of them continuously departing. So we are in a big trouble, kind of. But at the same time, when I when I look myself in my daily life, or when I observe people, I don't see this dilemma expressed very much. I don't see it like I don't know. I don't see it is as if I feel like that as if the whole humanity made an unwritten agreement, like that. Okay, let's ignore about it, because it makes us like thinking about transience, or talking about it makes us feel powerless, gives us pain. So let's pretend that there is nothing like that. Let's live in this bubble. And of course, maybe it is actually the reminders of transience are all around us. Like, for example, day and night, every day, that day finishes and we experience the night like it is exactly like that. Like, or you know, we see a butterfly dying in 3 days, or we see this morning glory. I researched the name for this flower, and its lifespan is only 1 day. Like, but probably the lifespan of human life is relatively longer. So we are kind of thinking that no, maybe everything will go forever. Like, we are able to imagine that because because it is relatively longer, we are easily forgetting this fact, unfortunately. And again, Imam Nursi summarizes this very nicely. I would like to also read that. Man fancies a sort of immortality in everything he loves. He cries out from the depths of his being whenever he thinks of or sees their passing. All lamentations at separation are expressions of the weeping caused by love of immortality. If there were no imagined immortality, there would be no love. Okay. Okay, so we are in this bubble. Even we are believers, maybe we are religious people relatively, but generally we just try to postpone it. Okay, yeah, everything is passing now, but there is hereafter, because we heard that from the revelation. We put it like a band-aid, but in the hereafter everything will be okay. But at the moment, even if I don't feel okay, even if I have pain, I just, like a wishful thinking, we just say, okay, maybe in the hereafter everything will be different. Although I am not seeing any signs pointing to that. And of course, I thought that we are not we are most of the time avoiding this question. But of course, there are, we see people who are courageous enough to talk about this also. And I really like to listen or read about people thinking solutions to such questions, because I wonder how people can live without the help of revelation. And when, for example, I in my mind, I categorize them in two categories, like it was mentioned in the title of the presentation. Like a group encourages, okay, life is short, so hold tightly, cherish each moment kind of attitude. And they say, okay, life is transient, so have fun. You will for sure need some distractions, but pick healthy distractions. Live as happy as possible, and also, if possible, make other people's lives better. So this is one solution offer. How do you think about this solution? Like, how does it make you feel? And do you think it is satisfying, or what if it is not? What is it lacking? Or have you ever tried such solution for yourself? Maybe.
I think it leaves a vacuum again. Like you enjoy the moment, but again, it brings you more deeper. I think more down. As much as you lift yourself high, try to lift yourself high up. If you are just enjoying the moment.
Mhm.
I must admit that it does look courageous to me from the outside sometimes. And, you know, people with full passion and doing this and doing that. And I saw that, I thought of this most recently in relation to activism around Palestine. I follow sometimes some people on social media who are journalists and people who have the bravery to speak up for Palestine and be willing to criticize the taboo topic, the Israel. And they seem very committed to justice and truth and integrity, and then they don't seem to be, you know, there's one writer actually, he has been speaking a lot, and he as far as I understand, he's not really connected to something religious or sacred. And I get impressed. I was like, whoa, you know, these people are like able to express so much solidarity, so much courage, and so much investment in it. And yet they don't have something larger. And at some point, it felt heavy for me because those moments where you're extremely frustrated of injustice, and then the Quran's light comes to aid and says this is not the last word, and there is this enduring eternal justice, and everyone's cry is part of that, you know, the things that we talk in the halakas. And those moments, I felt like the only time I can feel relief and peace, even though I am sad still, is those moments where I see, okay, things are under control, even though it's not under any finite being's control, and there is a just and compassionate one. And those moments are the moments were of awakening for me, in the sense that I would think of those figures who speak so well and who speak so passionately and nicely about justice, and yet I wasn't admiring their courage anymore, in the sense of leaving behind or turning away from any kind of revelation, because I can't even imagine the pain that would go with so much intensity. There must be some beauty that they are feeling, and yet the overall lack of a frame that you are going to die, everything is flowing, the oppressed and oppressor, whether history remembers this or that, doesn't matter. Who cares about history? That those moments where you feel how tight and suffocating that can be, but it does seem that holding tight in the way of the third version seems on the screen here to make other people's lives better. Even that seems as a difficult place to be ultimately.
Yes.
That's assuming that we are aware of that reality and extent and meaning and consequences of that reality. And most of the time we're not actually, we choose to not to numb ourselves because we don't want to stay there. And for people who are not connected to the divine or to akhirah or and stand for haqq, for justice, for whatever they feel and know through the fitrah. Fitrah is very strong. So they have honesty and integrity as far as the fitrah is concerned. They're true to their fitrah. And when we are in that position, when a human being is in that position, there are two choices. Either we remain true to the fitrah and stand our ground in what we know deep inside, that is, this is justice, this is haqq, this is what should be, or we can give up. I'm not talking about the corruption options, be part of the whole thing, but in order to not stand for haqq, for justice, and be totally overwhelmed, as you were pointing out, Isra, I feel like we have to already be aware of the meaninglessness of life in that bubble that we imagine the world to be. But we cannot live in that bubble with integrity. Like, we do not face the reality of what it means to live as though the world was not transient, as though there was no akhirah, as though there was eventually no true meaning and purpose. I think people would go mad if they lived with that consciousness, with that awareness, and live otherwise. And of course, I'm not talking about the fear that interferes, and so we don't stand as much as we could for justice for various reasons. That's something else. I'm just talking about like the basic, either we choose the path of standing for justice, and there are degrees, or not, but to not stand for haqq, either we are totally ignorant, we don't know what's going on, or we can't be aware of the reality and at the same time doing something that contradicts it. That's why even as believers, we first go into ghafla, then act. Even in the hadith, it says, like, you can't be acting like that as a believer. In that moment, you are not present with your belief. You are believing something else. That's why it's something that we need to renew our choice, our intention, day in, day out. We can't take it for granted. Because otherwise, true, it is something really, really that we can't shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah, although maybe we might seem to be true to our fitra, but maybe if there is no help of, like we are trying to struggle ourselves, if there is no help of revelation, probably at the end of the day, somewhere it goes out of balance. That's my observation. Like at some point, seemingly I do the right thing, but at some point it is totally out of balance because, yeah, I am a human being and I am limited. It is impossible for me, yeah, to struggle myself. And also, like in one of the videos I was watching, like the recommend suggestion was, okay, yeah, have fun, live as happy as possible, cherish each moment. But Imam Nursi all the time emphasizes that no, you cannot, like, because you're a human being, and if you are connected to past and future, and you cannot have pleasure like even like an animal. So this is not realistic at all. Um, like even I sometimes get surprised when people like this talk about being grateful. They all the time talk about being grateful because even some scientific research found out that the happiest people are grateful people. But being grateful to what? Like if everything is coming out randomly, so there's no object of being gratefulness. So how can I continue to be grateful, especially when something that unwanted happens? So I don't know. It is not, for me, it's not realistic at all. And the second group in my observation is those who say, okay, let's go. Attitude, I should say. When I was preparing for this presentation, a friend of mine sent me an she didn't know about at all about the presentation, and she sent me an article from New York Times, and the article was totally about this topic. And yeah, the writer was talking about like the pain of loss and things like that. And at the end, her conclusion was, okay, yeah, maybe most people would suggest holding tight, but I suggest the opposite, like loosen the grip, let it go. And she was giving a quote from a Buddhist teacher, and he was saying, he was holding a China cup, very expensive China cup, and he was saying, to me, this cup is already broken because I know its fate. I can enjoy it fully here and now. And when it is gone, it is gone. And she concluded at the end of the article, I am trying to meditate on the things I am holding too tightly, to loosen my grip a little, to carry a little more lightly the teacup, the wallet or phone, the people and places and ideas I am clutching, as if clutching will keep them from vanishing. What would you think about this?
You know, what comes to me is, subhanAllah, a dream that came to a friend regarding my brother, rahimahullah. And someone I don't usually speak to, was telling me, like, the message was the same word, clutching. You're clutching onto memories like you're holding onto a purse, and you have to let go. And at that time, I was not willing or ready to consider that, afraid, and really it was a fear of mine, that the memories of him would fade as time goes on. So holding on to the memories that I have tightly. And now as I'm reading this, it's when we clutch, because many of us are clutching on to whatever it is. This is the whole Ramadan and Dhul Hijjah journey of, what are we holding on to, because in that there's so much self-reliance and self-dependence. Like we take pictures and we're holding on to these pictures, afraid for pictures to be deleted, for example, because that picture represents a memory. And if I let go, I'm afraid what that means. So thank you for sharing this. It reminds me that when I'm clutching, I think that I have the power to retain the memory and keep whatever it is that I yearn for. And in fact, it's when we let go, just like zakat, when you give, that's when you trust the giver. SubhanAllah.
I wanted to share that Dr. Yamina puts a Quranic passage in the chat, and that's from Surah 55, Surah Rahman, verses 26-27. أعوذ بالله كل من عليها فان ويبقى وجه ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام. Everything, everyone on earth is perishing, bound to perish, perishes, and forever will abide your sustainer's countenance, full of majesty and glory. And connecting it back to what you have on the screen, Fatma Nur, this woman telling us not to clutch. I feel that it is half true in the sense that, you know, that last part where she says, as if clutching will keep them from vanishing. And she discovered it right, that clutching them will not keep them from vanishing. So in that, she's correct. However much we hold on to things, or even people, as she was saying, or in ourselves, onto ourselves, it doesn't, our clutching doesn't keep them from vanishing. That's a fact, and she's pointing that out nicely. But I would expect as a human being a next sentence that will tell me what will keep them from vanishing. So she doesn't address the real elephant in the room. We are devoted to keep them from vanishing. We don't want transience. And both of these two approaches have a half truth in them. So the person who's going to still hold on, that attitude, and we can all have this attitude, it's not just other people, that holding on despite knowing that you're going to lose, it has a truth in it. And then letting go because you realize that clutching will not actually keep them, that also has a truth. And the verse really brings the two together, the Quranic passage, because it is both telling us that everything on earth is vanishing, and at the same time there is a connection that we can make to this, because there is a stable point. وَيَبْقَى وَجْهُ رَبِّكَ ذُو الْجَلَالِ وَالْإِكْرَامِ. The countenance of the Rabb, full of majesty and glory, that is eternal, and that opens me an immense vista out of this bubble or tunnel of transience. So I just want to.
Yeah. Because when we become aware of the flow and we start feeling the pain of the flow of what we like, that we want to hold on, we forget, and that's what we're reminded through divine guidance, through the Qur'an, that we're focusing on what's leaving. But if something is leaving, it means something is coming. If there is a flow, there is a flow out and a flow in. And then when we realize there is a flow in, then we realize, where is it coming from? It's not only where is it going to, because it's too painful. We've already been attached to something and it's leaving us. But where is the new stuff coming from? And that's when our focuses changes, and we start realizing that there is new creation, new coming into being, coming into existence. And that's where transience and the flow become a window to the source. And the source is eternal. And the source is the source of all reality. And it's only when our perception of reality shifts through this, that we can see the face of God, the countenance of God, Wajh Allah, in everything. And then there will be there will be less and less, it's a process, need to hold on, because we know there is nothing to hold on. Whatever we are truly longing for is there all the time, in this form or that form, here or somewhere else. It's always here, it's always there, and it is with God. And so everything else becomes, it exists through him, so it cannot go to nowhere. So there is the memories and holding on to memories, all these things will shift their meaning. They become ayat, they become something that brings us closer to the source, closer to our Rabb, that will make the sadness, all that will be the loss, will all transform into something that will make us closer, longing for akhirah, for eternity, even more, appreciating its value even more, rather than holding on the thing itself and staying there. That's, I don't want to use like the normal vocabulary which is shirki, that's shirk, but shirk dhulmun azim. It's we remain in pain, and we don't fulfill the purpose of whatever happened. So it's by default we are choosing to remain in darkness, and we feel and we live the consequences of the darkness. So letting go it's not like I intentionally let go. When I find the real source, everything else was a mirage, was an illusion, was my own delusion, my own made up thing, that my wellness was coming horizontally from that thing, which is not true. But it takes time and practice. It's not only time, maybe it's not even true. It does not take time. It takes intention and practice, choice and practice. Like the companions of the Prophet, some of them reached a very high degree of presence of ihsan very quickly because of their choice and because they were dedicated and committed to practicing the teachings of the Qur'an. And remember this, we learned a lot when we were reading the surahs from the Qur'an. There is no way we can interact with the world as ayat, as divine speech, as messengers from God here and now, if we choose to not be present with transience. Transience is in the beginning hurtful, but the moment we stay with it, listen to it, learn from it, and it becomes this window or this gate onto eternity, and then everything starts speaking about God, proclaiming the beautiful names of God and glorifying him. That's the only way I can live my glorification. I can witness through their witnessing. Otherwise, I'm living one life and claiming something else.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, this for me the second approach kind of didn't honor my as Sarah was telling, she wanted to keep that memory, and this was, I think, a very valid desire. But in this approach, I don't feel that this is honored. It is mostly, I felt my pain and my desire is kind of a refusal, like, and putting some protective barrier around yourself. Oh, I didn't like it from the beginning, kind of, or like, and most of the time we are not able to control our feelings. Like, okay, I will loosen the grip a little bit now. It is not, again, it didn't feel realistic. And thank you, Isra, for reminding that I thought these as if two groups of people over there doing this. No, as all the time Imam Nursi does, these are two mistakes that I fall into a lot of times. I either try to hold on without seeing that this is not, I shouldn't look at for itself, but I should look beyond, or either I just thinking that I am okay, I will let it go. I'm kind of ignoring my pain. So this is, although I am claiming that I am a believer, these are two pitfalls that I can follow. I as Ayamin Hocam was saying, I need to choose and practice the Quranic way, inshallah, and let's see what the Quran offers, inshallah. Firstly, in the Quranic guidance, these two things are very important. I see a very honest approach, like being honest to your pain and your desire for immortality. No ignorance. So you just face it, like Abraham alayhi salam. In the verse it says, when the night covered him over, he saw a star. He said, "This is my Lord." But when it said, he said, "I love not those that said." Okay, yes, this is me. This is, I am just confessing my fitra to myself. I'm not rejecting it. Yeah, I just face the pain and I accept the pain. I welcome the pain. And then when he saw the moon rising in splendor, he said, "This is my Lord." But when the moon set, he said, "Unless my Lord guide me, I shall surely be among those who go astray." Here I just see, okay, I have this dilemma and I am lost. Please help me attitude. So now it is as if Ibrahim alayhi salam was able to put the bubble. He was ready to be guided, kind of. So whenever I read such a verse in Quran, from especially about in the stories of prophets, for example, like this one, "Unless my Lord guide me, I shall surely be among those who go astray." I wonder, okay, what happened next? I feel myself asking that, but no, that is not important. The important thing is he totally realized his dependence, and he totally realized his pain and accepted his pain and desire, and he opened himself to guidance. This is what should be focused, and Quran focuses that. So later I realized that, no, okay, my question is not valid at all, because that's not the point. So okay, after popping the bubble, we can go to step 2, but this step 1 is very important, because when we skip step 1, maybe most of the time, as believers or as religious people, we skip directly to step 2, and it becomes so, it stays just information. It doesn't transform us because doesn't answer a question that I live. If it's just, oh, okay, my religion has this offer, okay, but did I live that question? Was it a need in me? That is very, very important. Okay, step 2, after I popped the bubble, now I am ready to the second offer. Quran offers me to now, because I saw that everything is transient. The moon I adored set. The beauty, the perfection, the bounty of the moon left me. Now I know that it doesn't own those properties, but I saw those properties there. So what is it? What is happening? So Quran tells me, okay, they are there as signs. Read them. Relate to everything as signs, point to him, and just see all the beings as mirrors reflecting his names. So they are not there for themselves, but as messengers, as signs, speaking about him to you. We can also see the same formula summarized in this ayah. Külle şeyin halikun. So this is the first part. Okay, step 1. Everything is going. Are you aware? Everything is perishing. Do you feel it? Like, do you feel the pain? And can you touch your desire to immortality in yourself? Then, but okay, don't stop there. There's something to hold on. Illa wajhahu. Everything will perish except his countenance. So except whatever in creation looks to his countenance. Maybe I will read this quotation from Imam Said Nursi that will make it more clear. Yes, the beauty, bounty, and perfection in beings which excite love are signs of the truly enduring one's beauty and bounty and perfections. And passing through many veils are pale shadows of them. Indeed, they are the shadows of the manifestations of his most beautiful names. When I looked up for different translations for this ayah, there was like, for example, everything will perish except him, or everything will perish except his presence, or even this one didn't satisfy me very much because the word in the ayah is wajhullah. So it is not him, his face in the creation, meaning that okay, yeah, that being vanishes, but there is something that is not vanishing, and that is what that mirror was. Okay, yeah, there is something not vanishing, which is the manifestation of his names on that being. So when the presence of that being, for example, the moon, showed me by its presence those names, but with its transience, it is again becoming a sign, because it said, now I understand that, okay, it wasn't like it makes it easy for me to cut that horizontal relationship with the moon. Okay, it was just a mirror. It was just reflecting those beautiful properties. So now I am not discarding the creation. Because I can only look to eternity through creation. That is the way I need to go through. So neither I am holding on nor letting go, kind of, but just changing my relationship to the world. There is another ayah which will, sorry. Okay. This one was Yamina Hocam, Dr. Yamina already quoted. This is very similar to the previous one. كل من عليها فان ويبقى وجهه ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام. All that is on earth will perish, but will abide forever the face of thy Lord, full of majesty, bounty, and honor. Yeah, again, and there is a quote from Imam Nursi: if you want permanence in this transitory world, permanence comes from transitoriness. So we need to use that path. We need to, as Dr. Yamina was saying, stay with the transience so that we can look to eternity. Sometimes, why is this important? Because if I cannot, now, at the moment, here and now, if I cannot see any seeds of permanence, any signs to permanence, how can I confirm? How can it will be just wishful thinking? I will just say, okay, in the hereafter there will be nice houses, no wars, no sorrows. But how can I confirm? If I can look here and now to Wajhullah, to whatever I see in existence, if I can look to the face of his names, I know I feel very I'm not able to express it well. If maybe Dr. Yamina or other friends help it, it will be more clear, inshallah. Or maybe we can give a concrete example. We generally use the example of flower, or let's use the example of a baby. When I look at baby, there is a lot of beautiful properties are reflected, right? He's alive and he's smiling, or he's responding to me, talkings. I don't know, a lot of whatever you see on him, as he grows up, he will be like an adult or a teenager, and the baby, the properties that you see on the baby will vanish in a way. But if I can connect, when I am looking at the baby, if I am connect to the life giver or the beauty giver or this cuteness giver, at that point, that meaning stays with me. Although my baby now became a teenager, doesn't matter. And as Yamin Hocam was saying, there is, maybe my baby is now grown up, but now I have a niece who is just born, and there is always flow in and flow out. So the properties endure, but only the mirrors change. So that I can confirm that, okay, the source is permanent. Even maybe if I am trained enough, I can see the whole universe collapse each moment, actually. Of course, this requires a very deep heart glasses, but yeah, this flow is so so I can witness the eternity each moment. I don't wait to my baby to grow up, actually. Okay, I talked too much. And there was another verse. Let me also read. أنت ولله المشرق والمغرب فأينما تولوا فَثَمَّ وَجْهُ اللَّهِ. Unto Allah belong the east and the west, and wherever you turn, there is Allah's countenance. Okay, yeah. Again, we are encouraged to seek His face. It doesn't matter where we look at. It is always possible, or even in the unwanted events. Now, our topic is not that, but as we train ourselves on looking at the things that we like, inshallah, we will be also inspired to see His face in also unwanted events. Again, another quotation from Imam Nursi: the world is also a temporary exhibition, so look at it and take lessons. Pay attention not to its apparent ugly face, but to its hidden, beautiful face, which looks to the eternal, all beauteous one. I think he said, pay attention not to its apparent ugly face, because even if I am looking at something beautiful, if it is not eternal, if it is leaving me at the end of the day, it is ugly. Like for a child, think about it. You show a chocolate and you don't give it to her, then it is really ugly thing. So then, yeah, in that sense, everything will become ugly. But if I can look at its hidden, beautiful face, hidden in the sense that I need to make an intention to read it, to see it, which looks to the eternal, all beauteous one. Would you like to make any comments about these verses I shared? Please go ahead, inshallah.
Thank you. Jazakallah khair, Sister Fatma Nur. So we can take another 10 minutes or so, inshallah, for comments or questions. And there are several things on the chat. I can read them in the meantime. Ziba said, our pain comes from things leaving as we are not living consciously in so-called routine moments and seeing it as pointing to the source. And Sarah summarized what Dr. Yamina has spoken. Whatever we truly longing for is there all the time. In this form or that form, it is always here, always there. And it is with God. So everything else exists only through Him, so cannot go to nowhere. Sarah, would you like to read this?
I think you're doing a great job, mashallah.
Go ahead. I think it will have more of the intonation.
I'm kind of changing a diaper right now, but
Oh, okay. All right. So, all right. So, okay. So here's the quote. Whatever we are truly longing for is there all the time. In this form or that form, it's always here, always there, and it is with God. And so everything else exists only through Him, so cannot go to nowhere. So the memories and holding on to memories will shift their meaning. They will become ayat and will bring us closer to our Rabb. The sadness, the loss will all transform into something that transforms into eternity even more. Rather than holding on to the thing itself, shirk, which is dhulmun azim, a major injustice, choosing darkness and pain, and we feel and live the consequences of that darkness. Rather than that, we can choose to transform that loss. So Sarah summarized what Dr. Yamina had just said. And then Dr. Yamina has a chat here exactly acknowledged. This is referring to Abraham alayhi salam, that Fatma Nur had mentioned when he said, La uhibbul afilin, I don't like those that set. And then in the next verse, he was saying, I am lost if I'm not guided by my Rabb. So Dr. Yamina was seconding Fatma Nur's point that exactly Ibrahim alayhi salam acknowledged his sadness and his need for help and guidance. So our sadness, it transients, and then we transform that by being open to guidance. Our Dr. Yemi, would you like to say these comments that you wrote here?
It's okay, you can share. They were in just seconding what Fatma Nur has already shared with us, inshallah.
So big capitals, yes. Our relationship to the creation shifts and transforms from horizontal ismi to vertical harfi. And Dr. Yamin also noted that clutching and letting go are both occurring in the horizontal perception of reality. I think in the sense of presenting these as final solutions, right? Final solution
Or
of
as like I am the doing of the letting go and clutching, as Fatma Nur was saying. When it's harfi, when it's vertical, the letting go happens to us. It's not like I need to let go, I should let go. I'm not forcing it. It's like when you're hungry and you get your favorite food, we don't go, I have to like it, I need to like it. You're just made to like it and appreciate it. And
yeah, but it is possible because of realizing that it is a sign. Otherwise, letting go in itself or clutching in itself, they're both different ways opening to the same darkness. Because it passes whether we let go or clutch. And Ziba has a comment. Oh, this is from Surah Kahf. استعوذ بالله فأووا إلى الكهف ينشر لكم ربكم من رحمته ويهيئ لكم من أمركم مرفقا. So this is the moment of going.
I can say.
Yeah, please, yeah, go ahead. Please. If you can speak closer to the mics, Ziba, so we hear better.
Okay. Is it better?
Yes, please go ahead. You are muted, Ziba. Ziba, we don't hear you. You're muted.
can the host unmute someone?
Not
anymore. We can ask the unmute.
Yeah, actually I was connected to my headphones. That's why. So I was saying, yeah, if we can, if every moment, if we can just go back to him, retreat to him, and especially when it's easier moments, if we can go to him, then I think it's then in the hard moments it's easier to approach that, because it's a very well-known path which we have been training on and have been using to go back to him. Otherwise, if our default mode is always ghafla and not seeing him in small moments, then in darker moments it's very difficult to go there, so that's Sister Yamin always, she stresses us on see the small moments and try to be connected and milk that smallest feeling, and then it will be, the transitioning will be very easy to look in the difficult times. Sure.
Yeah, on Ziba's note, I would like to share something. It was in my notes, but I forgot because she mentioned first concentrating on small moments so that it will be easier. Sometimes, for example, when we walk in a quiet forest or when we see a sunset, or when we see a stork in the air. In the summer, storks migrate to Poland, and if you go to countryside, you can see storks in the air. And whenever I see a stork, I feel so excited, and I've kind of that moment I feel like that I am connected to my heart, and I feel more strongly that okay, yes, no, I cannot be just flesh and bones. There's something in me. Otherwise, why would I feel like this? Or when you see a tree in full bloom, you just feel that connection to your heart. But I told you about how my son left us and how I felt so heartbroken. Actually, that pain also let me connect to my heart, and in an interesting way, I felt that those two things, like seeing a total beauty and witnessing pain, that's separation pain, they are totally seemingly different things, but in different languages, they were taking me to the same place. They were telling me the same thing. So this was so interesting for me. Maybe you also experienced something similar. Yeah, just pay attention, just catch those moments. Don't waste them. Stay there when you feel your heart is speaking, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, these are all beautiful jewels from the Quran, seeing the two as the signs of the same, pointing to the same. And Sarah wrote, Imam Nursi used the word eternal vistas, I think, for our memories flowing into this eternal dimension, eternal vistas. And sadness and also joy could take us there if we are willing to follow the signs. Inshallah. Jazakumullah khair, Sister Fatma Nur. Before we close, if there is anyone who would like to share a comment, we can, we're out of time, but we can have a couple more minutes.
I think Naima has a comment.
I don't, is it written?
No, she said she can't raise her hand, but if she can take the mic, she should share, inshallah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I don't know why it's not working, but Jazakallah khair for all the beautiful sharing. What kept on coming to my mind is about this ache of separation that we're talking about, and how it's really not a sign of emptiness, but it really is a reminder of who remains when everything else fades, and that's Allah. And as we navigate like this sorrow of impermanence, Allah offers us something really unshakable. And it makes me think of this surah, in Surah Al-Baqarah, when he says, whoever submits his whole self to Allah and is a doer of good has grasped the most trustworthy handhold, which never breaks, and Allah is all hearing, all knowing. And I just continue to reflect about this handhold that never breaks, and every loss really carves out into us this awareness of transience. And within that, there is a sacred invitation to hold tightly, and to surrender with grace and to love deeply. All the things that we love, but don't hold on to it tighter than our grip to Allah. So nothing is ever taken from us, it's only returned. And it just makes me think that longing is never in vain, because there is a reward and there is a promise of something better and a continuation in the journey. It's just in this impermanent realm. that we are feeling that pang of sadness. So just really grasp onto him, subhanAllah.
inshallah. Thank you.
Thank you, Naima, for sharing. Jazakallah khair. And Fatma Nur, I see you have another slide with dua, so we will maybe end.
Inshallah, make the dua and finish. This was at the end of Imam Nursi's treatise on impermanence, and I liked it a lot. Bismillah. والباقي هو الأزلي الأبدي هو السرمدي هو الدائم هو المطلوب هو المحبوب هو المقصود هو المعبود سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا. He is the eternal one, he is pure eternal and post-eternal, he is the everlasting and perpetual. He is the one who is sought, the beloved. He is the one wished for and worshipped. Glory be unto you. We have no knowledge save that which you have taught us. Indeed, you are all-knowing, all-wise. O our sustainer, condemn us not if we forget or fall into error, our Lord. Okay, thank you very much. Jazakallah for listening, and yeah, it was a pleasure for me because while preparing it, I learned a lot. Alhamdulillah. Inshallah, I am waiting the next sessions with excitement. Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah, Fatma Nur.
Jazakallah kull khair, Fatma Nur. Alhamdulillah for this beautiful light to begin.
MashaAllah.
And there are two verses in the chat that perhaps that could be our final ending. Beautiful passages Dr. Yamina shared.
That's what Naima, the ayah she was referring to.
Oh, this is the one that's holding on. Yes. وَمَنْ يُسْلِمْ وَجْهَهُ.
I think this is what I understood.
Yeah, yeah. Is it in Surah Baqarah? Maybe we can.
It's in Surah Baqarah as well.
Surah Al-Baqarah is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Oh, this is Luqman. This is the translation. You have that first? Okay. Yes.
I misquoted. I misquoted.
Yeah. Do you want to read
It's there.
do you want to read it in full and we end on that? Sister Naima? The English?
Oh, sure. Luqman, Surah 31, Ayat 22. Whoever directs himself wholly to God and does good work has grasped the surest handhold, for the outcome of everything is with God.
MashaAllah. Thank you. Jazakallah khair, Naima, and Jazakallah khair, Fatma Nur and Dr. Yamina, everyone who shared. And Ramadan Mubarak. And we hope to meet next week at the same time, Saturday at 2 p.m. inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.